Welcome to the Phoenix Prosperity Podcast, where wealth meets legacy. Join your host, Tim Fergestad, as we explore the journeys of Phoenix's finest to success and beyond.
Hello, this is Tim Fergestad. Thank you for joining us. I'm very pleased to have Candice Raine with me here today. Candice is the CEO of Arizona Trauma Institute and an executive coach. She actually wears a lot of hats, but welcome to the show, Candice.
Thank you so much, Tim. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, please. Thank you for joining. So do you want to give us a snapshot of your business right now?
Yes. So the Arizona Trauma Institute is a place where you can find training and certifications revolving around trauma and resilience. So we're all about educating people, individuals, organizations, from really any type of background on trauma and resilience. I think where it can differ is on how we do this. So we have online self-paced courses, we run live webinars, we certify organizations. So we're going to spend a lot of time with them, a few months actually, to certify them. So we have different ways of doing our work, but it all revolves around educating people and organizations on trauma, toxic stress, and resilience.
Okay. Do you provide services or just training?
Training.
Okay.
Training. Although, some might be confused as services because we go and educate, like very soon we're going to be going to jails, right? And educating inmates. So it could be confused as services, but I still consider that education. Okay.
Sure. Can you explain a little bit more for our listeners what types of trauma you're referring to?
Psychological trauma.
Okay.
And so we're really disrupting the definition of trauma and resilience. And we use authoritative research for that. So we're solely research-based. My business partner, who is the founder of this institute, is Dr. Roten, and he's really the research geek here, although I'm becoming one too.
I bet.
Slowly. But a lot of people think that trauma is that one single event, when in reality, trauma is about the person's ability to experience, a series of events or situations that we qualify as toxic stress. And it's the ability or the lack thereof of your body to be able to process that. And so when you talk about trauma out there, you will hear people talking about it as being about the event, when in reality it's about the person. And there is a lot of research that shows, the exact same event happening to 10 different people, you're going to have 10 different responses, and some of them more acute than others.
Sure.
So that's, it's really not about the event itself. It's about the ability of the person to be resilient.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, that makes total sense to me. I mean, not just psychologically, but also an example maybe for our listeners is an analogy of physical, right? If you get a cold or a virus and you're in bad shape to begin with, it's going to have a bigger impact on you, right?
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. So I always say that the understanding of it is complex because it's rooted in neuroscience. It's rooted in really a deeper understanding of your physiological and biological responses. But the application of it is actually very simple. And it's mainly rooted in self-care. But in this particular context, once you understand what happens to your body when you experience toxic stress, that understanding will make you be more strategic about your self-care. And it's going to make you more intentional. And so it's going to feel like it's helping you more.
Okay. Very interesting. So how much of your training is for that sort of physical aspect versus, I'd say, almost traditional therapy where you have to go unpack all the reasons why they are so or not very resilient or so easily triggered or sensitive, for example?
I'm not sure I'm answering your question, so make sure, interrupt me if I'm not. We are basing all of our training on a trifecta that we call the neuroaffective coherence approach.
Okay.
And what that means, it's the combination of neuroscience, which is really more the psychoeducation. It's explaining what is happening biologically and physiologically when you experience a trigger or prolonged exposure to stress.
Okay.
Then we apply the salutogenic model. And the salutogenic model is a model that is health-based. We focus on the wellness and the health of a person as opposed to their deficiencies. So what does that look like? A pathogenic approach would be to look at your label, your diagnosis, and looking at it as there being something wrong with you. So it could be someone was diagnosed with depression, okay? And we're going to focus on that deficit of being depressed. The salutogenic model looks at the fact that you got up and showed up on this podcast. So there is something within you, a resource that you are tapping into to be able to show up. Well, we focus on that and we help the person grow from there. Now, when I say we help the person, we don't provide any of those services, but the people we train do. And so we train them how to do that. And then the third factor is the somatic aspect, because people need to understand that stress management is not a cognitive process. You don't talk yourself out of stress. It's not entirely true. It's a physiological and biological process, and you need to work with your body to bring it back to a level of baseline so that your nervous system and your body as a whole can feel safe.
Okay, right. So I'm imagining just basically things like proper exercise and sleep can reduce stress hormones and stuff. That's some simplified version of that.
That is very true. There is one thing that I see. So as you mentioned, I'm an executive coach, and a lot of the clients that I attract are those type A, I attract, as coaches, we attract who we are very, very often. And so they're those go-getters, type A personalities. And what I find is there is a misconception of what self-care means. Okay. And it's due to a lack of understanding of how your physiology works. So you will have people who get up at 5 a.m., go to the gym, eat lettuce, don't drink, are very health conscious, right? At night, they may go to yoga, whatever that is. But during the day, their fuel is adrenaline.
Okay.
Right? And so when you do that, what you find is when you are letting your body experience those levels of toxic stress, you are in a constant state of what we call hyperarousal, which is basically your body is basically being fueled by those stress hormones.
Right. And adrenaline is by design, by your body, meant to be short term,
That's
acute.
exactly it.
Right.
But you keep injecting, you keep sending those cocktails of stress hormones into your bloodstream, and one of them is a really bad guy, and that is cortisol. Cortisol doesn't just in high levels doesn't just stress you and whatnot. It also depletes you from the good hormones.
Right.
So in a very hyperbolic way, I tell my clients, you may as well go to McDonald's and start drinking. I don't mean it that way. I'm saying that for them to understand what you need to do is watch your body's response throughout the day. And it is incredible the effect that it has on people. I have clients who went from not doing anything to doing taking 4 to 6 breaks of anywhere between 30 seconds and 5 minutes in between meetings. Okay. And just do a body scan, understanding how their body is feeling, what's your nervous system telling you right now, and then bringing yourself back to baseline. And it is incredible, the feedback that I have received, how they're more productive, they feel healthier, they just overall feel better, and it has lasting effects on their personal side. their personal lives.
So a big part of this is awareness, right? Paying attention to your body
Self-awareness, yes.
and your environment. Okay. Do you have any tips for people? Just some basic ones offhand.
Well, for those of you who are not having a practice of self-care, I recommend putting a reminder on your phone every 2 hours. And it doesn't matter if you see the reminder. Like I could get a reminder now while we're on this podcast. Okay, while I'm talking to you, I can do a quick body scan and understand, okay, how am I feeling right now? Am I tense? And as I'm talking to you, I'm actually doing it right now. I'm relaxing my body. I'm relaxing. I'm doing a deep pelvic relaxation right now, and I'm actually feeling very relaxed. So it's creating that self-awareness and understand that you can do that anywhere, even when you're in the middle of something, but just going within, understanding what's happening right now. And if you feel like you're extremely tense, you're feeling stressed, but there's nothing you can do now, just make it a point at the end of that meeting, do something, right? And
have a reminder or a routine to make, because otherwise we get distracted. Next thing you know, I've been sitting at the computer like this all day.
Absolutely. So it's about bringing yourself, the autopilot mode of anybody, the highway is to the amygdala. The amygdala is that part of your brain that really doesn't handle anything else than fear response and impulsivity, right? And
primal.
So
Yeah.
you're in survival mode. And so what patterns are going to come out when you are in survival mode is the patterns that stem from the programming you experienced as a child.
Right.
It never fails. And so the antidote to it is intentionality.
Okay.
And you need, as human beings, we need to bring ourselves constantly back to that state of intentionality. I've been doing it for a few years now, and I still have my moments. It's very human.
Okay. Sure. Okay. So it sounds like it's incredibly useful, incredibly helpful, particularly in this day and age where everybody's so busy and stressed out, and all the media is meant to get your attention, and a lot of it is fear-based and other stuff because it's very effective, or negative, right? And what are some of the biggest challenges? Well, I want to ask about in the company, but also for you working on the company. Let's stick with helping people right now. What are one of the biggest challenges trying to help people in terms of the trainers helping the people you're training? I'm sorry, delivering this sort of help. What are some of their biggest challenges?
Doing it for themselves. So we are not a lecturing body.
Okay.
You don't come to us to hear a lecture on trauma and resilience. If you are in a self-paced training with us, we will highly recommend you to practice this yourself. If you are in a program that involves one-on-one connection with a facilitator, we will actually hold you accountable to live this for yourself, because our philosophy is, unless you are able to model the behavior, to model the resiliency to the people you are helping, you don't really have any business in helping those individuals. If you don't regulate yourself on a very regular basis, if you are not aware of your own body responses, how can you go teach it to someone else?
Sure.
And that is the biggest challenge.
Okay. All right. So sorry, my daughter just came over.
No worries.
Okay. So that's one of the joys of being able to do this from home when I work.
My 3 dogs might start barking, so we're good.
Excellent. Okay, so back to the challenges for the company. What are some of the biggest challenges you have as a CEO of the Arizona Trauma Institute?
Well, so I took over this business a little over a year ago.
Okay. From the founder?
So now the founder is he's my business partner. Okay. Dr. Roten is this amazing human being who, all he wanted when he started this 13 years ago was to just help people in Arizona, clinicians for the most part, to have better understanding of trauma, because in the mainstream counseling curriculum, there's no deep dive about trauma. Okay. And so people find themselves trying to do therapy or coaching with individuals who have experienced trauma. And the typical modalities like, cognitive behavioral therapy and the likes, they don't really work. It requires a slightly different approach. And so all he wanted to do was to help those individuals get better exposure to that type of curriculum. Okay, well, it grew unbeknownst to him. And he never intended on actually running a business, turning it into a business. Okay. And so when I came into the picture,
You have something valuable when that happens.
oh, yes. Oh, yes. And we are now a business. I mean, it took me a year to, go through this transition with everybody, but we are a business, but we have not lost the essence of what it is we're trying to do. At the end of the day, we want to help people and we serve a higher purpose. And so that we always joke that there is a third business partner in this business, and he's invisible, but he has a lot to say about what we're supposed to do. And so we're very aware of that, and we give that space because we truly believe that we are guided into something that is probably bigger than us.
Okay, that's beautiful. That's great. Okay, so what are some of the hurdles you've had to your current goals? Let's say in the past year, lots happened. What are your 2025 goals, and how are you going to achieve them?
Okay, there are a few facets to this question. I will tell you that my major hurdle as a business owner of an organization that is really, this is all we do is it's digital.
Okay.
It's digital. We offer trainings. It's marketing. I cannot find that one marketing agency or person that is actually helping us move the needle there. Marketing has been a true hurdle, and it's not just that, because I think that there are some really, really good companies out there. Okay, but the type of the price point that they have for the type of work that we need is at this point too high for the type of revenue we bring. So I'm in that in between phase.
Right.
So that is really a really difficult place to be, but I'm not giving up. We're talking to a lot of people, and I'm confident that we will be guided to finding the right person. So that is one of the hurdles. I mean, the rest is really just owning a business. I was joking with that mastermind group that I'm a part of that nobody told me the dark side of business ownership, which is when you go to bed and, you're like, I need to pay people, and hopefully I will be able to do that in the future.
Yeah, it's all on you. A lot of responsibility.
It's a lot of responsibility, yeah.
And it's lonely.
It is, which is why I am joining, I am a part of a mastermind, and I am joining networking groups because it makes us feel less lonely. It creates a sense of community.
Absolutely. Okay, that's great. And we're clearly better together, right? And the networking that I've had here in the Valley alone has been tremendous. And
I agree.
Excellent. Okay, so on that marketing front or note, what have you worked with any fractional CMOs? Have you thought about bringing somebody on into the company for that role?
So I'm evaluating every option right now.
Okay.
What is best? Is it best to bring someone in-house? Is it best to hire a company? It has its pros and its cons. And so by this summer, I will have made a decision.
Okay. Excellent. Speaking about Phoenix and your impact here, is it largely, you said it's digital, so is it national? Is it global? Where are your clients?
It's international. We have a big footprint in Asia.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes. I mean, we have some real fans over there in Asia that want more and more of our material. So that is exciting because some areas like India, Pakistan, and so on, they are traumatized. And bringing that kind of knowledge is really an honor for us. I would like to be in many other countries that could use this type of material, most definitely. But so we are pretty global. We have people from Australia, South Africa. Next week, I'm talking to someone in South America. We have people pretty much everywhere. So I would like, one of the things I would like is to really expand our visibility so that more people learn about what we do, more people purchase our courses and truly learn about how to approach trauma and how to become resilient. And in that, I include survivors. We have a lot of people who purchase, we don't just have clinicians. A lot of people who purchase our courses are survivors themselves, and it has been a tremendous help for them.
Okay. I bet. Excellent. Okay. What are sort of do you have any plans or initiatives beyond marketing by summer for Arizona Trauma?
Yes. So at this point, so a year into this transition, we did a lot of work internally, right, to bring all the protocols, the processes, and procedures.
Sure.
We still have some work to do, but we're in much better shape than we used to be a little over a year ago. Now, I'm really working with my team on developing those programs. It's one thing to sell one course here and there. At this point, I would like to package things better, right?
Sure.
And provide a better service, especially to those organizations that reach out to us. And instead of them trying to determine what they need, letting us tell them, here is a pathway that you can embrace within your organization, and offering packaged services. So that is truly my goal for this year, is to better serve our customers by being more proactive than being reactive. Right now, we respond to people or organizations thinking that they have a need. Okay? We would like to be more proactive.
Okay. What percentage? So with the name Arizona Trauma Institute, I sort of assumed you had like a brick and mortar place here and so forth. But if you're digital and you're international, what percentage of your clients would you say are in Arizona?
Oh, we still have a lot. I would say maybe 30% of our clients are in Arizona, 35%. Technically, we are brick and mortar. We still have a lease with an office in Mesa, but I'm in the process of getting out of it, and because we really don't need a brick and mortar. Before COVID, a lot of trainings happened in person.
Okay.
And after COVID, it changed. And so we would have, in a classroom, we would have 5 people in person and 30 people, on the screen.
Right. Virtual.
And so it no longer justifies having an actual office.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
That's another expense for a startup too, which is not needed.
Very much so. Yes.
Right. Okay. So do you anticipate growing more outside of the country in the next few years?
I would like to grow in the US. Okay. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't want to continue, but I'm not focusing on international growth. The international growth is happening extremely organically. Okay. People find us, love what we do. But I would really like to grow beyond Arizona and be affiliated with greater organizations that would value the model that we bring forth.
Okay. What are sort of those ideal or at least the range of institution sizes that have been your clients to date?
So we work a lot with counties, for example, in Arizona. So a lot of those counties are certified trauma-informed organizations. I would love, for example, to take this model and expand it outside of Arizona. I believe that especially the juvenile courts or the Department of Corrections, we believe that this could be such a wonderful thing for them to have to create
Right.
better outcomes with the populations they work with. There is this one county that their juvenile court became trauma informed, and what that means is that they actually made physical changes to the court.
Okay.
Okay, so security didn't have the typical, uniform, and so on. There's a little corner where they can, people can take a beverage or a snack. Like the whole approach of the court is different. And people have reported that they just felt more at ease. And what happens when they feel more at ease? They speak more, they share more, which is kind of what you want to happen in those contexts,
Sure.
right? I have a very big interest in finding ways to also have some of our curriculum in jails. Inmates nowadays have access to tablets, and
Right.
having an opportunity to build curriculum and share with them, listen, what got you here in the first place might be a physiological response. How many inmates will you talk to that will tell you that they just blacked out? Right. And so being able to share that with inmates who are going to be released and give them a fighting chance to actually have a successful reentry, those are things that I hold very dear to my heart. So there is a lot, and at some point we're going to need to prioritize.
Right.
As you can imagine, but that's where we have strategies. And then we let our guide being our guide. And sometimes right now we're going to be having a conversation on a contract we did not see coming.
Okay.
Right. And that has been happening. That has been a
Yep.
constant for us. And we are very resilient that way. We adapt based on who we cross paths with.
Okay. I'd like to sort of double click on what you said about like inmates having a pad or something digital to be able to do these programs through. I've recently found that, or heard and read that that's actually more effective in a lot of cases than having a person there in person, because they're less likely to open up as much, right? They feel judged if there's another person there looking at them and stuff and things like that. So I'm very excited and optimistic for all those programs.
Yes, absolutely. Me too.
Okay, well, Candice, if people would like to learn more, connect with you, what should they do?
So go on aztrauma.org. That's our website, and that's where you can find everything that we do. I'm also pretty active on LinkedIn. You can find me with my first and last name, Candice Raine. That's how we met, right, Tim?
Yep.
It's on LinkedIn. And those are the two avenues. And
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, great. All right. Well, thank you everybody for watching and listening. Thank you very much, Candice Raine, for joining me today.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate you sharing your story and insights into success and trauma healing. Thank you.
Inspired by our guests? Visit PhoenixProsperityPodcast.com/guest and join us on the show and share your success story with Tim. The spotlight awaits.